Hey guys, this is Michael here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the OK Now What show. We cover a lot of really serious things with regards to Bobby's new OK Now What moment, and we dip into what that means for him and his future goals. Hope you guys really like this one. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram, both at the OK Now What show. Much love, guys. Thanks. Enjoy.
One thing I want to say real quick is really apologize to everybody that was anxiously awaiting all of our, our daily. Don't slam it on the table. It's okay. All of our, we hear echoes when that happens. All of our daily updates on social media. We've been crazy with real jobs. This is real job. Other jobs, and at the same time, some other crap that was going on. So we weren't really in our own OK Now What moment, or my own OK Now What moment, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, which is great. I'm excited about that and not really excited about it, but let's get real, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you and I both have really busy careers on top of families, and it's really hard to get things nailed down. So, we found...
That's why we're using our home studio, which is... Apologize for echoes. It's we have no padding on the walls.
Yeah.
Permanent record... much nicer place.
Yeah, they got that foam stuff to stop everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's just it. Is it you when you can find the time, you can plan ahead, but things happen, and there's a lot of things that we just didn't have any control over in the last couple of weeks. But that's why we also changed the name from the podcast to the actual show, because there's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about.
I need to fix something real quick.
Yeah, get on it. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to talk about that don't actually encompass just the podcast, and that's when we started, wanting to create just daily content that was relevant to what we're trying to do. And you're so vain, like you just wanted to see yourself.
You had to see both of us, otherwise it's gonna be like, who is Michael talking to?
That's all right. Yeah, I mean, and that's why we started just creating general content as well. Bobby and I got that one night where we produced some stuff, and we really saw value in the conviction piece. And then, Bobby did a whole week of posting there. That was really good. And actually, we got a lot of really good engagement from that. We had a lot of people that, that are outside of our network that signed up and that, to watch our Facebook feed. And then...
we now have maybe a couple hundred followers, which is great. I don't know how many of you are real.
Yeah.
Not very many.
Fake followers.
And
it's hard, man. It is so hard to find out who's real and who's not. And you listen to all these other podcasts that...
people start talking about fake news. Talk about fake followers.
I think there's 4 accounts on there that were Justin Timberlake. That's what it said. And I was like, there is no way Justin Timberlake is this popular.
He has to have 4 accounts because they max you out at 2,000 friends?
Yeah.
No, 4,000 friends?
4,000 friends.
Justin Timberlake may have 16,000 friends.
Yeah.
So he may have a little bit more than that, actually. So his account...
He's a big deal.
He may have 5.
Yeah, he's a big deal at the Cracker Factory. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, so there's a bunch of them that were just obviously fake and what have you. But you go through and you create content, and that's how you start getting viral, and you start, just believing in it. I saw this really good, awesome piece from Gary Vaynerchuk today that talks about, like, if you're in it for the followers, you're in it for the wrong reasons. And that's a big thing that you and I both know.
No, we're in this for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Because... I enjoy these conversations. You enjoy these conversations.
Yeah, 100%.
It's nice just to get away, just to talk and have a great conversation.
And I think when you say us too, like for me, that means, and I know you feel the same way too, but like it's not just about the us as in you and I. Right. It's about every person we're about to incorporate into this journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we've got guests lined up, which is awesome. We've got 2 female entrepreneurs who are going to jump on our podcast here moving forward. Bobby and Shayna are going on a vacation here to Italy, a much needed vacation for 2 weeks.
Much needed.
Yeah.
Yep. 10-year anniversary too.
10-year, which is huge, man. And then, so they're going to go to, we've got 2 female entrepreneurs who are doing some incredible things in Austin. We've got another female guest who is actually associated with the Moats team, who's communicated that she's interested to be a part of what we're doing.
When I think of probably our next 5 guests that we potentially have lined up, they're all female entrepreneurs or strong female businesswomen.
Yeah, big time.
which just means, guys, you need to step it up a little bit.
100%. It's funny, though, because then we got this like random engagement from someone that said, hey, I would love to be a guest on your show. And I was like, is this another fake profile? But check it out.
Was it Justin Timberlake?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
I mean, if it was him, I'm fairly certain we can increase our followership substantially. We may have 300 by the end of that one. And then we got someone who's a high school principal and who's having a lot of impact in youth around the area. So I think so. We've got a lot of great things, and some good friends too that are have great stories that you never even realized, and they're really interested to get involved. So
there's great stories every single day.
Yeah,
I love to hear it. I wish we had more. Okay, now what moments? Just spur of the moment. But it's that'd be great. So people should send us videos of okay, now what moments?
Yeah,
and just post it to the page. Can people post to our page?
Yeah, I mean, if they submit videos to us, we'll
just
post
submit
them.
it. Yeah,
that was my other thing that I think that I'd really like, and we'd like for you guys to really go ahead and do is. I personally would love if you've got an okay now what moment, because here's the thing: a lot of people have been communicating to me and sending me messages, et cetera, that are like, hey. I'm just not comfortable being on a podcast. Like, I just don't know. I don't like my voice or whatever. I don't want to be live. And that's totally fine. So my thought was this. I thought that if you're interested, just submit something that's a life-changing story for you. So I would say maybe, record something that you are comfortable with, maybe like a 2-minute video, or if you want, like myself or Bobby, maybe we can do like a Skype call or a FaceTime call where we can
totally
just ask you like 5 or 10 questions, and we can just talk quick and maybe record like a 10-minute snippet, and we'll post it on our page, because that's again why we changed from the podcast to the actual show, because we want to start incorporating more stories.
Absolutely. And again, going back to these last 2 weeks have been crazy. Mm-hmm. I just remembered we have a publication kind of that we have not put any of those stories into.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah,
we got that thing. Okay, so stay tuned for that.
And I mean, that's the thing is that as we've been going through this thing, there's like a website that we're building and like getting a place to put.
Please
all
don't go to our website right now.
Yeah, don't go there right now. It doesn't look like anything, but
you will be confused.
Yeah,
You'll be like, what is this?
Yeah, and but it's all part and parcel of what we're trying to do, and then just getting our heads wrapped around. Like, I had no idea there was so many places to put podcasts. Like, you can put it on SoundCloud, you can put it on iTunes, you can put it on YouTube, Facebook, like all of these different. There's 5 different other sites that I've never even heard of.
Facebook Live, Instagram Live.
Put it on the tweets, the Twitters, on your Face Jam.
Just not
Instagrams.
Snapchat. Snapchat's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Just don't put it on Snapchat. Okay. Yeah, I heard that thing's going bankrupt.
That's what I heard too.
But that's we're not experts in that space, so don't hold us to that.
Unless it happens, and then we called it.
Yeah.
That's yes.
Yeah, and in which event I'm putting at right now, double record. Snapchat is going bankrupt.
They're going out of business.
Whatever.
Okay. Cool. Let's jump into it, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about. And
and before we do this, guys, again, I want to remind everybody: Bobby and I are not therapists. We are not experts in this space in any sense of the word. We're just creating an atmosphere here to have conversations about real life things that are going on. And so a lot of the stuff you're going to hear, you may not necessarily agree with. That's completely fine. But the important thing is that we just get conversation around it. So
yeah,
cool. All right. So. Okay, now what moments? So in the last 2 weeks, maybe week and a half.
Yeah. So let me. I'll just start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, and I had actually mentioned this on our, I think Facebook Live, and maybe Instagram page, whatever. Talking about some heart stuff and how anybody's got any really great heart healthy tips, whatever. I would love that. Didn't really get much feedback. That's fine. The reason I was asking for that is, so first off, going back about a year ago, my father went into the hospital with a mild heart attack, went down there. Everything, he had always been fine, felt fine, blah blah blah. Felt healthy. Just kind of mild heart attack. Didn't even know it was a heart attack. It was short of breath. So went to the hospital. Was totally fine, except for his, I think they called it injection ratio. to your heart, like the blood going to your heart was like a 6.
Okay.
Normal is 50.
Oh, wow.
And like anything under 30, you're at like risk for instant death.
Shoot.
So he had that. What had happened and what caused all that that lack of blood flow was calcium buildup in arteries around your heart.
Wow. Okay.
And that's kind of how a heart attack, calcified plaque is what causes heart attacks. And he had a lot of it, obviously. He had like massive percentages in the high 90s of it being blocked.
Wow.
A lot of the arteries all over the place. He had to end up getting like 3 stents. Some places they couldn't even put stents because it was so blocked. So came out of that, and he actually had to go home with a defibrillator attached to him.
My goodness.
At all he had to wear a defibrillator at all times. And now he has to wear an internal defibrillator. But I came out of that understanding that, okay, my grandfather died at like 53 of a heart attack. My great-grandfather, I think he died in his 40s of a heart attack, and so on and so forth. This has been coming from my father's side, it's a genetic thing. It's it's something that's been passed down for better or worse. I mean, for worse, obviously, but something that we have not really figured out how to live with. So I got to a point where, okay, that was an okay now what moment. I'm gonna start working out a heck of a lot more. And I was not in shape.
Yeah.
Okay. I was maybe 190, 195 pounds. I would go. I think we were doing CrossFit. I would still go work out, do all that stuff. We would eat healthy. We're kind of hippie when it comes to food. I used to work at Whole Foods and got really big into that. And at the same time, we all organic, GMO-free, whatever. Shayna makes sure that we're eating healthy, and I like to eat healthy too. So
yeah.
We weren't eating bad, and haven't really my whole life. It's all been home cooked meals. Period.
Yeah.
Never really went out to eat. I never do fast foods. I don't drink sodas. So not a lot of sugar, not a lot of bad food. So going through there, I started to work out more, made a commitment to myself to drop more weight. So I got down to about 175 after the next few months.
Good for you, yeah.
Yeah, and also had in the back of my mind, hey, I need to go to see a cardiologist. But right now, at that time, I was 31, so not a huge deal in my mind to go and do that, because who has heart issues at 31?
At 31, right? Yeah.
Nobody. So I started, I was just doing my thing, eating healthy, losing weight, running a lot.
Sure.
I've been running a ton.
Yeah.
And then, and also making sure that I was monitoring heart rate and things like that. So I was wearing a heart rate monitor. Fast forward to this year, a couple months ago. I decided, okay, let's go to the cardiologist. Okay. The cardiologist then recommends, hey, I need you to do an echocardiogram. I need you to do a stress test. We're going to, take some blood work. And then we also want you to get the CT scan. CT scan is something that's newer. If you want some of the back history of that, it's all political. Like insurance companies won't pay for it still, and there was a lot of lobbying against it because it's all preventative.
Right.
Anyways, so a few weeks ago, right after, right when kind of stuff went quiet for a little bit, I decided, okay, I'm going to go get the CT scan. I'm going to do it. It's $150. I came out of that doctor's appointment. They're like, oh, you're going to be perfectly fine. You're healthy. You look fit. You run all the time. You eat good food, whatever. So I go there and get this CT scan done. And the CT scan, it's like this big donut that you put yourself into. Mm-hmm. So kind of like an MRI, but it's a donut and it spins around you and takes pictures of your heart. And the only way they can, I don't know why it spins and all that stuff, but there's a lot of pictures that go into it, and it tries to time your heart so that it's taking pictures and at the same time that it's beating. Don't hold me to that because I don't know if that's 100% accurate. I'm just guessing.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Anyways, it's a big donut thing. It spins around you, and you're looking up at the ceiling, and it's got like palm trees. Anyways, I get out of that and like, okay, that was weird. It took 5 minutes. Had to pay for it out of pocket because insurance doesn't pay for it, which is fine. It's like $150. Everybody should do it.
Yeah.
Not all the time. Just do it once, because there's a lot of radiation in that. So.
Yeah. You don't
But
need that.
this thing is designed to measure the amount of calcium that you have, calcified buildup that you have in your arteries. Okay. So when plaque gets to a certain point where it potentially may rupture.
Yeah.
Your body automatically tries to heal it with calcium. It just puts calcium over the top of it, and you're good. That's what it does. That's your body's natural reaction to heal that.
Okay.
And so it's trying to identify, okay, how much calcium do you have there? And I think the scores go from 0 to in the thousands. And when they start getting higher, I think above 400 is when, you really, really, really got an issue. Mm-hmm. But there's nobody my age that has that score. So anyways, I go back home after doing that, and I'm going through my mind, and I'm like, well, shit, no matter what happens with this score, something's going to change, because either it's going to be perfect and I'm going to understand that I have a family history of this stuff,
yeah,
and then try and just make it perfect because I'm a competitive person, mm-hmm. or it's going to come back with some numbers, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to freak out and be like,
yeah.
So a couple weeks go by. Also, throughout that whole thing, I forgot to get an echocardiogram, so I had to get that later. But a couple weeks go by, or a week goes by, and I get the test results back, and I think we're sitting on the couch. We're having family night, eating some pizza, and cauliflower pizza, because I'm still eating healthy.
Yeah, there you go.
But me eating healthy also was like, I'm going to do let's try some keto and stuff like that. Well, yeah. I get these test results back, sitting there on the couch watching movie night with girls, and start reading it, and I look at this thing, and it says, okay, your calcium score is an 85. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? I know that bad's over 400. So then I start reading through this report, and find out that, 85 for my age means I have more clogged arteries, more calcified plaque in my arteries than 97% of anybody else that's my age.
Wow. Okay.
I'm in they say the 97th percentile, so the top 3% most clogged arteries for anybody my age. And that I have mild to moderate cardiovascular disease.
Jesus.
At the age of 32.
Wow.
And that I need to, and just like a score of 85 is high for a 45-year-old. Like this, you look at it, people have scores in the thousands, but not when they're under 50, they shouldn't, at least. And so looking at that, and it's like, and obviously I hadn't gotten back to see the doctor yet, so my brain just starts going crazy.
Yeah. You and I had a conversation very briefly last week, and because I wanted to check in, and then you said the mental part of it all was probably the worst part of it all. You used a very inappropriate slang term as far as I mean, I loved it, but that it's a mental. How should I put this? It is a mental drain. Let's call it that.
It's like somebody punching you in the gut. When you see that and you realize, okay, I'm 32. I have mild to moderate cardiovascular disease, which for my age is an extreme case.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that, it's just mild. It's, hey, you're 32. This is a much bigger deal than if you were 52.
Yeah.
And it was 82, I think, maybe 82, 85. And so I start diving into this and reading it and like, how do I fix this? Because I'm a fixer, and realize quickly that this is not a thing you can fix. And a lot of okay now what moments and a lot of things that have been in my my past, it's been something that I can fix. Like, and this is probably the only thing in my life that, like, I don't care. I can go broke. We can lose the house, whatever. Those are massive okay now what moments, but this is something that I can't like, it's life or death, right?
Yeah.
And I got 2 little girls.
Yeah.
And a wife, and I want to be around till I'm 120.
Yeah.
I want to be around for a long time. But something that, it's crazy when you get something like that. You realize really fast. A lot of us go through life and you kind of feel invincible.
Yeah.
Except for people that have had some moments that all of a sudden they didn't feel invincible. Mm. Like, even if you go through things, you almost feel like this is going to go on forever. But when you get something like that, some news like that, and realize that, hey, and it's not that it's a ticking time bomb. It's like it's a, how do I describe it? There's something in me that's genetic that is going to try really hard my whole life to try and kill me.
Yeah. And
the only thing I can do, I think, which I don't really know, because there's been no successful case in, my dad's side of the family, of somebody living that is, this gene has showed up, that they've had, calcified arteries at the age of 32 in the early 30s. There's no successful case of somebody coming out of that. So what does that look like? And, I don't know. It's the first things that go through your mind, obviously, it was like, holy shit, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
How do I fix this? I can't fix it. I can't be a problem solver with this. So anxiety, man, my anxiety shot through the roof those next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And my, it was probably depression a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of stuff, and, they probably feel the same thing as, and also really, I started doubting myself and my abilities, because, I've been an athlete my whole life, trying to stay in shape and do all this, and then all of a sudden realize, well, it didn't matter. You weren't good enough. You begin to doubt yourself, not only in that aspect, but other things. Like, I have not been good enough, period, to prevent this. And, I've read studies, and I asked the doctor about them. They're probably not 100%. Well, they were journal article. I started reading a bunch of really intense medical journals after this.
Yeah.
Read stuff like, calcium on average for the test group that they were working with was growing 20 to 25% per year. I'll tell you what, I read that thing and almost passed out.
Really?
Well, because 20 to 25% per year, if that's just like a general growth thing, then, my 50s, I'm going to be screwed. But, you step back and think about that a little bit, and you understand quickly that, okay, that's if you're continuing the same sort of lifestyle and so on. So, I don't know where I was.
You're good. Yeah, we're talking. You got really good into a lot of different things there, especially with like feeling invincible, right? Like you think you're invincible, and then moving down that line of like, you've got something that's going to be chasing you for the rest of your life now. Let's maybe talk about that. Like, so what, like, literally, okay, so now what? Like,
yeah. So I've spent the last couple weeks figuring out, how do I fix this? What is it going to take to solve this problem?
Yeah.
And not only with me, but this is something that I have most definitely passed down to at least one of my children. Because it's, and this was what my cardiologist told me, is that it's I forget what it said, but like one of two, like one or the other will have the gene, and I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
So automatically off the bat, I feel like, well, shit, I'm a bad dad.
No shit.
But how do I fix this, not only for me, but for generations of my kids and grandkids to come? Because I don't want them to go through the same shit, And it's not like, I'm still healthy right now. All my other tests came back great. My echocardiogram was perfect. My stress test was perfect. Everything was great. I haven't got my blood work back yet. We'll see what that does.
Yeah.
But if anything, I'm reducing cholesterol, period. But, I feel great. I'm not, it's not like I'm dying. My body is attempting to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's 100% it makes sense why you would feel that way.
And it's a piece of my DNA that I passed down to my kids at some level, and they potentially pass down to their kids, and maybe my siblings are in the same boat, and they haven't even got any tests done yet, which is fine. They're still young. Well, but I'm young too, so whatever. And I've spent the last couple weeks thinking through that problem of how do I fix this? And honestly, man, I looked at everything. I looked at there's this thing called chelation that dissolves calcium in your arteries and veins. It's like, oh, let's do that. And then because I've been reading a lot of medical journals recently, started reading into that and was like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to put something in my body and it's going to take calcium out of my body?
Yeah.
Do I want brittle bones?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you start, and I said this at the very beginning, calcified plaque, if you take away the calcium was your body's way of healing that plaque.
Sure.
So and if you take that calcium away, the plaque could potentially rupture, and then that's how you get heart attacks. So I can't do that.
No.
How do I heal the plaque? Nobody knows how to do that.
Yeah.
I can prevent it, maybe, hopefully, going forward. I don't know how my body, I don't know how my body produces plaque, period, so I don't know what that even looks like. So it's just going to be trial and error over the next 70 years.
Yeah.
But so I need a solution to this problem. So this is the only thing I come up with, and it is my solution, period. I have to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
So that I can fix this not only for me, but for my family. And then there's a heck of a lot more people that are broken and then have this same thing going on with them out there.
Yeah.
And hopefully help those people too.
Yeah.
But more selfishly, my kids, my wife.
Sure.
I got to be able to do this for them.
Yeah.
So,
back to what I was saying, we've got the opportunity to become friends, and I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry you're going through that. Like, I really am. I can't imagine what it's like, and it always moments like this when someone close to you gets impacted by something like that. There's nothing you can do. It makes you realize how quickly you take for granted the littlest things. Like, I'm very, very blessed to have. I don't have any of that stuff in my family history. It makes sense that you would feel like, this is my fault, but like it was passed down to you from someone, and that was from them. It was passed down from someone before them. So this is not an impact that has anything to do. Like, you had the choice when you were put on this earth, like, oh, would you like this gene or not? And you chose then to have it. Like, that's the thing But, I genuinely am sorry that you're going through that. Like, that's going to be tough, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and, our show, the Okay Now What show, is all about game plans for getting out of those moments.
Yeah.
And if some of the people that are listening to this thought that was going to be, we're going to have that game plan situated.
Yeah.
Apologize, because just hit, and so we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And if you have some great ways to do this, I have in my mind some ways that I'm going to do it. Obviously, I'm going to eat better.
Yeah.
I am going to, my doctor got me on, and I know people love, hate, whatever. There's mixed feelings around them. Going to be on statins, probably trying to get my cholesterol down as low as possible. And trust me when I say I did not want to do that, period. But I was even talking to my dad, and he said my cholesterol's been perfect my whole life. So, which basically told me any bad cholesterol is bad cholesterol, period. No matter how low the number. So I'm going to try to tackle that. So eat healthy, do that. I'm prescribed I have to work out almost every single day.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. That's my lot in life, which is fine.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And lastly, I'm going to figure out how to beat this.
Yeah.
I may need $1 billion to do it.
Yeah.
But holy hell, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because I am too much of a fixer not to.
Yeah.
Not
Well, and that's just it. Is like your story's not written yet. I mean, you don't get the chance to really see what the future's got. So all you can do is just do what you can today and then keep moving forward, right? I think that this is going to be impactful no matter what. And here's the other thing too. No matter how many medical journals you read, and no matter how many like stories that you find, it's still your story, and nobody is ever going to be able to feel the way that you are feeling right now. Because what you're about to write is something completely different. And yeah, you mentioned depression. That's something that as men we don't talk about, and it's just a classic thing that goes on, and it's real. And in that first one that we recorded, I talked about my depression, but even then it seems selfish to even think of that. My depression wasn't real. It was a small valley I went through. What you're about to go through, everyone that has heart issues, whether it's a heart attack or what have you, the first thing that they talk about is the depression that you feel because you don't feel like you're in control and you feel like you've lost everything. And that's a real thing. And like understanding that is something I feel like you're very self-aware, so I feel like you will get through that. But it's going to be part and parcel something that happens with this entire situation. But I got to be honest, like the fact that you are taking the steps now, like way before your grandfather, way before your great-grandfather, probably before your dad even found this stuff. And like you doing that.
My dad thought he was fine up until about a year ago.
Yeah, and so like you doing that is exactly what it takes to get ahead of these sort of things, to be aware, right? And look, if you've got to do statins, like it is what it is. Like let's be honest, you're right. Like it's not there's so many different sides to that. Some people are on one side, some people are on the other, but like how many of those people have actually been looked at and said you have something living inside of you that could kill you, and it might kill you, and so for them to have an impact into your decision is complete bullshit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, they have to be respectful of the fact that you're choosing to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you and I are also weirdos, too, in the sense that we will find 20 different all-natural weird mushrooms in the middle of the Himalayas that have been proven to reduce plaque in arteries for hundreds of years, and the Mayans have been, like, we're those weirdos.
Semi-proven. Yeah. Like, maybe proven one time.
Slight chance.
If they provided you with this mystical experience that made you go into your arteries, and you actually cleaned it out yourself. But it's a thing.
But the other side of that, too, is, like, you and I both are big fans of understanding things like cholesterol, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, why it's important that you don't necessarily follow the herd when it comes to certain studies that are like all cholesterol is bad. Well, no, not all cholesterol is bad, but in this situation, you just have to be cognizant of everything. And I think it's important that you appreciate and understand like the power that you do have, because when this happens, you don't lose all of your power. And if you feel like this has taken all of your power from you, I'm not in your shoes, but I'll tell you what, then I don't think that you understand how powerful you really are, because you carry a lot of weight, you carry a lot of power internally among yourself, among people around you, and this is not going to define you. This is going to be something that's going to create something exceptional for you. And I think that's never, if anything, it's never been more true than it is today, that is about to go down. And I believe you. You say you're going to be a billionaire, I believe you. Like, I genuinely believe you. I've got buddies that say weird stuff all the time that you're like, yeah, man, you go out and be the most ass-kicking parking instructor, defensive driver, teaching coach, whatever you want to do, go do it.
Yeah. And
you pray for them and you give them the best of support. But, like, I believe you when you say that you will be a billionaire. I honestly, God, believe that.
And that's one thing that I'm... So, I mean, we've always, we've had these conversations. Success has not been an option. Like, not being successful has not been an option in my life. and I, I've always had big ambitions, but not really know why. And it's really hit home that this is why. This is why I had that drive, is because I need to do something about this. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they just want to live a good life and, just ride off into the sunset, have their money, live on the beach, whatever. Yeah, that'd be great. But that's not what's driving me.
Yeah.
Not anymore. It's this, because I have to keep in mind that I am not the only one impacted by this. If I want to have any more kids, that's a 50-50 shot right there that they're going to have the same thing.
Yeah.
Do I want to put them through that?
Yeah.
I want them to live great lives. I want to have kids because I want them to have great lives, and I want to love them and be their father and do that. And I want to be their father throughout everything, through their kids and their kids' kids. I want to be there for all of that. But to do that, I have to change something. And I can be as healthy as I possibly can. I still don't know if that's going to be enough. Like, do I have to fund the fully artificial cardiovascular system at some level and just replace all of my cardiovascular system, like, so that I can go further and trying to and fix it in a different way? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the only way for me to really do that is to have way too much money, which, resources. It just comes back to resources. Something interesting. I was so a shout out to, which I don't know how many people are listening. Shout out to the Hollises. We went to a marriage conference.
Right.
Last weekend, and
Rachel Hollis, who's like, just so people that don't know. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Rachel Hollis is a major author who actually lives in our area.
Yeah.
And she writes a lot of really influential books, but just has an entire movement designed around.
I think one influential books. The rest of them are like, oh my gosh, I can't cookbooks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were all influential. Well,
no.
If you're a cook, they probably influence you. Yeah. But her and her husband work together to help drive couples with all kinds of amazing relationships and incredible initiatives for all kinds of different people.
Yeah, so that's not the story. The story that was, there was while I was sitting there in this conference with my wife, I was looking at my wedding band, and so our first dance, our song, whatever, when we got married was You and I by Michael Bublé.
Okay.
And we always had this motto that, you and I will conquer the world in love. That's what happened there.
Sure.
And it's actually engraved in my wedding band too.
Yeah.
Never really understanding behind that, what does that even mean? We knew we wanted to have adventure. We wanted to be entrepreneurs. We wanted to do things, but there was no real end goal except to do, to have fun doing it and to grow together, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But it all clicked for me sitting right there as I was going through some that was probably the peak of my anxiety, was sitting in that conference that morning and the night before, what is happening? And so I was sitting there and thinking about this motto that we had put on our life 10 years ago, and realized, and it just came to me, you and I will conquer the world in love for each other, for our family, and for the broken. And just completing that, and conquer the world in love, conquer the world basically, for the heart. We're going to go out there and we're going to conquer it for the heart, for each other, so that I can be there and we can be there together throughout this whole thing, for our kids, so that they can be there, so that we can be there for them, and they don't have to go through this. And for the rest of the broken, the people that are going through these same things in their heart, we're gonna do that. And I'm committed to. Conquering the world. What does conquering the world look like? I don't know. I'm going to make $1 billion. To me, that's conquering the world. If you can do that, so that this doesn't have to be a thing anymore.
Well, that's it, guys. Episode 2 is in the books. Thank you so much for tuning in. Episode 3, 4, and 5 will be coming up soon. We've got some great guests lined up. And we'll feel really blessed that you guys are following us and that you're spreading the word. So take care, and thanks so much.